This video was made possible thanks to the support of our incredible patrons. Your contributions are appreciated more than we can put into words. Hello everyone and welcome to another EDH gameplay video brought to you by Affinity for Commander. My name is Martin. And my name is Alex. Today we have a classic game of Commander for you to enjoy, which involves combo-tastic slivers, a control-heavy bird monk, and a very angry Phyrexian captain. We've also made some major adjustments to our video display, so please let us know what you think of these changes in the comments below. With that being said, let's take a look at those opening hands. My commander is Greven, Predator Captain. I keep an opening hand of Soul Drinker, Prowler's Helm, Outmaneuver, Ancient Cravings and 3 Swamps.
My commander is Kykar, Wind's Fury. My opening hand consists of Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite, Wayfarer's Bauble, Mind Stone, Cryptic Command, Time Wipe, Command Tower and the Plains.
Jacob is playing his Golos Tireless Pilgrim deck and keeps an opening hand containing Geode Golem, Kozilek Butcher of Truth, Sol Ring, Commander's Sphere, a mountain and 2 forests.
And finally James's commander is Sliver Overlord. His starting hand is made up of Venom Sliver, Sliver Queen, Rootbound Crag, Misty Rainforest, Stomping Ground, Polluted Delta and a mountain.
Jacob wins the die roll and starts the game off by playing a forest. He then casts Sol Ring and passes to James.
James plays Stomping Ground, which he has entered tapped, and then passes the turn.
I play a swamp and end my turn.
I play Command Tower and cast Wayfarer's Bauble. I then pass to Jacob.
Jacob plays a mountain and casts Commander's Sphere. All aboard the ramp train. He then passes the turn.
James plays Rootbound Crag and casts Venom Sliver. He then ends his turn.
I play a swamp and cast Prowler's Helm before passing to Alex.
I play a Plains and cast Mind Stone. Jacob isn't the only one running a ton of ramp. I then pass the turn.
Jacob plays a forest and casts Tamio's Journal. He then ends his turn.
James plays Polluted Delta, immediately paying 3 life to sacrifice it and put Godless Shrine into play untapped. Next he casts Darksteel Ingot and moves to combat, attacking Jacob with his Sliver. Jacob takes 1 damage and James passes to Martin.
I play a swamp and cast Unspeakable Symbol before passing the turn.
I play a mountain and sacrifice my bauble to put an island into play tapped. I then end my turn.
Jacob makes a clue in his upkeep and then casts his commander, Golos Tireless Pilgrim. He searches his library for Command Tower, puts it into play tapped, and then passes to James.
James plays Misty Rainforest, which he pays 3 life to sacrifice and put Watery Grave into play untapped. Next he casts the first Sliver, which allows him to cascade for a non-land card with CMC 4 or less. James cascades into Homing Sliver, which he casts for free, giving the slivers in his hand sliver cycling. And this is why people hate slivers. James then makes a bit of a rulings mistake, cascading once again, which he shouldn't have been able to do given the first sliver is still on the stack. Oops. He cascades into Cryptolith Rite, which he casts for free, and then moves to combat. He attacks Martin with Venom Sliver, dealing him 1 damage, and passes the turn.
I play a swamp and cast Ambition's Cost. I draw 3 cards, lose 3 life and end my turn.
I play Glacial Fortress and cast my very shiny commander, Kykar, Wind's Fury. I then pass to Jacob.
Jacob makes a clue in his upkeep and plays Temple of the False God. He then casts Meteor Golem using its ETB to destroy the first sliver. That's enough cascading for 1 game, thank you very much. With nothing more to do, Jacob passes the turn.
James plays a mountain and casts his commander, Sliver Overlord. He then activates the Overlord's ability, searching his library for Hibernation Sliver and putting it into his hand before ending his turn.
I play Rakdos Guildgate, finally gaining access to red mana, and cast Key to the City. I then pass to Alex.
I play Arid Mesa and then move to combat. I attack James with Kykar, dealing him 3 damage, and pass the turn.
Jacob makes a clue and then sacrifices all 3 of his clues to search his library for a card, which he puts into his hand. Next he plays Cascading Cataracts, fixing his mana colour problems, and activates Golos' ability. Jacob reveals Hedron Archive and 2 lands and casts the archive without paying its mana cost. He then ends his turn.
James plays Clifftop Retreat and then casts Mana Echoes. Sensing the beginning of an infinite combo, Martin casts Devour in Shadow, targeting Sliver Overlord. James responds by activating the Overlord's ability, searching his library for Quicksliver and putting it into his hand. He then taps his 2 untapped slivers for mana with Cryptolith Rite and flashes in Quicksliver before letting Martin's spell resolve. Sliver Overlord is then destroyed, Martin loses 7 life, and Mana Echoes finally resolves. Plan foiled, James reluctantly passes to Martin.
I play Cinder Barons and then cast my commander, Greven, Predator Captain. I then end my turn and Alex responds by paying 3 life and sacrificing his fetch land to put Hallowed Fountain into play untapped. He then casts an overloaded Cyclonic Rift, creating a 1/1 spirit for flying and returning each of our players' non-land permanents to their hands. I then discard down to 7 and Alex then proceeds to his turn.
I play Temple of Enlightenment, scrying the top card of my library to the bottom. Moving to combat, I attack Jacob with my commander and James with my spirit. Jacob takes 3, James takes 1, and I pass to Jacob.
Jacob recasts Sol Ring, followed by Commander Sphere and then Hedron Archive. He then discards down to 7, putting Kozilek Butcher of Truth into his graveyard and shuffles his graveyard into his library before passing the turn.
James recasts Darksteel Ingot and then Venom Sliver, and finally Hibernation Sliver. I respond to the latter card by casting Cryptic Command, creating a spirit, countering the spell and drawing a card. James then plays Flooded Strand and ends his turn.
I recast Greven and then cast Blood Celebrant. With nothing left to do, I pass to Alex and James responds by paying a life and sacrificing his fetch land to put a Plains into play. Next he casts Swords to Plowshares, exiling Kykar, and Alex gains 3 life before moving to his turn.
I play a Mountain and then move to combat, attacking James with both of my spirits. He takes 2 damage and I then pass the turn.
Jacob recasts his commander, searching his library for Azorius Guildgate and putting it into play tapped. Next he recasts Meteor Golem, destroying Greven with his ETB, and then ends his turn.
James recasts Mana Echoes, but this time I respond by flashing in Snapcaster Mage. I cast Cryptic Command in my graveyard, countering the spell and drawing a card. Man, I love playing blue. Not to be deterred, James plays Steam Vents, paying 2 life to have it enter untapped. He then casts Sliver Queen, which would have made infinite tokens with Mana Echoes, and passes to Martin.
I cast Doom Whisperer, and with nothing more to do, pass the turn.
I play Temple of Epiphany, scrying the top card of my library to the bottom. Moving to combat, I attack James for 2 with my spirits, and then move to my second main phase. Here I cast Time Wipe, to which Martin responds by paying 2 life to surveil 2 with his demon's ability. I then return Snappy Boy to my hand, and the rest of the creatures in play are destroyed. I then end my turn.
Jacob casts Geode Golem, which he swiftly follows up by casting Atali Primal Storm. Jacob then plays Nomad Outpost and passes to James.
James draws for his turn, and passes without doing anything. So suspicious.
I cast Treasonous Ogre and then cast Key to the City. I then end my turn.
I play Homeward Path, cast Thran Dynamo, and pass to Jacob.
Jacob moves straight to combat, attacking me with his dinosaur and James with his golem. Itali's ability triggers and Jacob casts the Loxodon Warhammer that I exiled. He then casts the Return to Dust that Alex exiled, exiling Alex's Thran Dynamo. Damage then occurs, I take 6 and James takes 5. Geode Golem's ability then triggers and Jacob casts his commander without paying its mana cost. Alex responds by sacrificing his Mind Stone to draw a card, and Jacob searches his library for Dimir Guildgate before putting it into play tapped. In his post-combat main phase, Jacob activates Golos' ability. He exiles Sorin Grim Nemesis, a land, and Farseek, the latter of which he casts to put Breeding Pool into play. Jacob pays 2 life to have the land enter untapped and casts Sorin, activating his +1 ability. He reveals the top card of his library to be Selesnya Guildgate, which he draws, dealing the rest of us 0 damage. Jacob then activates Golos' ability once again, this time exiling Nezahal, Primal Tide, Leyline of Anticipation and Desolation Twin. He casts all 3 cards, creating a 10/10 colourless Eldrazi with Desolation Twin's cast trigger, and passes the turn. James responds by flashing in Quick Sliver, followed by Cloud Shredder Sliver. He then recasts Homing Sliver and proceeds to his turn.
James plays Sulphur Falls and recasts his commander. Next he casts Blur Sliver and then moves to combat. He attacks Jacob with all of his creatures, dealing him 13 damage, and ends his turn.
I pay 3 life to activate my Ogre's ability, adding a red mana to my mana pool, and then recast Greven. With nothing more to do, I pass to Alex.
I play Mystic Gate and then pass the turn.
Jacob activates Sorin's +1 ability, revealing Circuitous Route as the next card in his library. Alex, James and I each lose 4 life, and Jacob puts the card into his hand before activating Golos' ability. He exiles Smothering Tithe, Zakama Primal Calamity and Frontier Bivouac before playing the land and casting the enchantments. Next Jacob taps his remaining land, floating 5 mana, and casts Zakama, untapping all of his land. Not yet finished, Jacob casts Tamio's Journal and activates Golos once again. This time he exiles Pull from Tomorrow, a land, and From Under the Floorboards, the latter of which he chooses to cast. Jacob makes 13 2/2 zombies, which thankfully enter tapped, and then proceeds to combat. Not liking the look of Jacob's impressive board state, Alex responds by casting Snapcaster Mage and casts the Cyclonic Rift in his graveyard, paying its overload cost. The rest of the table's non-land permanents are once again returned to our hands, and Jacob moves to his second main phase. Here he recasts Sol Ring, Hedron Archive and Commander's Sphere before ending his turn and discarding a lot of cards.
James recasts Cloud Shredder Sliver, followed by Sliver Overlord. Next he casts Quick Sliver and moves to combat, attacking Jacob with all 3 of his creatures. Jacob takes 9 damage and James passes to Martin.
I start my turn by recasting my commander for what feels like the 50th time, followed by Key to the City. I then pass the turn.
I move straight to combat, attacking Jacob with my Snapcaster Mage for 2 damage. Every little helps. In my post-combat main phase I play Rugged Prairie and then cast Soulfire Grandmaster before ending my turn.
Jacob plays a swamp and casts Leyline of Anticipation. Given that his hand now has flash, Jacob decides to pass to James.
James activates Sliver Overlord's ability, searching his library for a Meeboy Changeling. My god, that thing's face is terrifying. He puts the honorary Sliver into his hand, moves to combat, swinging his Overlord at Jacob. Jacob responds by flashing in Ulamog, the Infinite Gaia, and uses his cast trigger to destroy Sliver Overlord. Didn't see that coming. James responds to this by activating Sliver Overlord's ability once again, this time searching for Crystalline Sliver. He puts Sliver into his hand, flashes it into play, and Ulamog's ability fizzles without a legal target. Unlucky Jacob. Sliver Overlord then flies over the Eldrazi's head, dealing Jacob 7 damage and knocking him out of the game with a lethal dose of commander damage. Probably for the best, considering Jacob had Rise of the Dark Realms in his hand. With nothing more to do, James passes the turn.
I play Bojuka Bog, exiling James's graveyard, and then recast Treasonous Ogre. Next I cast Whisper Silk Cloak and pay 6 life to my Ogre to equip it to Greven. Moving to combat, I attack James with my commander, dealing him 11 damage, and then end my turn.
I start my turn by casting Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite, who wiped out most of James's army with her static ability. I then move to combat, attacking James with a Soulfire Grandmaster, dealing him 4 damage and gaining 4 life from her lifelink. James is knocked out of the game, and I move to my second main phase. Here I cast Monastery Mentor, followed by Izzet Signet, which triggers my Mentor's ability. I make a 1/1 Monk token with Prowess, and then pass to Martin.
I play a Swamp and cast Loxodon Warhammer. Next I move my cloak over to Treasonous Ogre, which allows me to equip my Warhammer to Greven. Darn Shroud making things difficult. Not yet finished, I activate Key to the City, discarding a card to make Greven unblockable. I then move to combat, attacking Alex with my commander, and then pay 3 life to my ogre to add a red mana to my mana pool. I use this mana to help cast Team of Battle Rage, giving Greven double strike, and then remember the -2/-2 that Elish Noir is giving my creatures. Sneaky Alex keeping quiet about that. I pay another 3 life to activate my ogre's ability once more, raising Greven's power to 12, and hit Alex for 24 commander damage, knocking him out of the game. Phew, that was a close one. Well, that's it for another game. We hope that you enjoyed seeing Greven sneak in from behind to steal victory from Alex. I know I sure did. Don't forget that you can help support us in 3 easy ways: liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving us a comment. I read every one. And if you really want to help us out, then be sure to check out our Patreon page. There's a link in the description. That's all for now, we'll see you next time.